Hey, what's up, folks? We are back here at AWS reInvent day 4. We're over halfway through. I'm here with my friend Brian from Intercom to talk about some new stuff they've been building around AI and their new product, Fin.
Yeah, well, this feels like day 10 at reInvent.
I
I don't know
know.
about you, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a marathon. Yeah, yeah. I'm happy that I still have my voice a little bit. Yeah, a little bit left.
Cool.
Well, let's talk about Fin. So Intercom is a product I think a lot of people are probably familiar with. The company is 12, 13 years,
14 years
14
old.
years old. Okay, yeah. So definitely not a new company, but recently there's been this like growth of this new dimension of Fin, and even I've seen the billboards in San
Yep.
Francisco. Talk about what is Fin, and how did this grow out of what was Intercom before?
Yeah, sure. So even here at reInvent, we have a stand and lots of mentions of Finn. Intercom's not really mentioned there at all. And this is like very deliberate thing. It's like we're trying to get out the Finn brands. The purchases of AI systems in particular are very different to the purchases of like support systems. And we also don't want people to associate Intercom or Finn rather with the old Intercom of the past. Um, the buyers are different. People's familiarity with Intercom can be different. We don't want that to hold us back from having a great product out there and having like its own distinctive brand. So yeah, we're coming out there talking about Finn. But happy to tell people we're actually Intercom as well under the hood. In terms of like the product and features and all that, from my perspective, it's all just a bunch of Ruby and Rails codes and it's all the same stuff. We're
Because you've
really
been at Intercom for a while. You built a lot
yeah,
of this
yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been there
over
for
time.
11 years,
Yeah,
like
okay.
mostly on
Yeah.
the system side. Um, so it's not like Finn as a standalone business has a completely different tech stack or anything. Well, we write a bit more Python than we used to nowadays to interact with the LLMs. But it's the same product thinking, the same approach to like standards in terms of design and how we go about building it. Though the actual act and art of building AI features very, very different to what worked well for Intercom in the past. So we've had to change up team structures, how we plan, even just what's possible. You know, if you're building a feature in, say, an inbox or a messenger, you're adding a new button or you're adding some new integration, you're pretty certain it can be done. Whereas with AI features, we're finding that we have to like figure out, okay, is this thing possible? And so that requires just completely different ways of working. We've had to try how we plan, how we staff teams. Nothing what we did before works easily. And we've been aggressive at not being held back by the, pretty decent successful company that we were in the past, but not having those as like the way we worked in the past as being a headwind or something that would maybe slow us down from being like super aggressive in the AI agent business. So yeah, it's been like all changed, but also it's the same company, very similar people. A lot of the things are the same as well.
Yeah, it's like same band, new album.
Yeah,
It's like
totally. Yeah,
Sergeant Pepper's versus
yeah, we've got
whatever
it. We're into our
uh,
electronic music phase
that's
now or
right.
something.
Since you've worked at the company for many years, and Intercom was a successful business previously, it's pretty clear that Intercom now is like all in on AI. I mean, Fin is like it's a hard refocus of the whole business on this big opportunity. Can you talk about how that transition happened? Like when in the organization folks started seeing this in the senior leadership, what were the initial sparks that were the kind of, oh wow, there's going to be something here? And then how you went along the path to now being really all in on this. I'm sure it
Sure.
wasn't like a overnight at one moment. It was kind of maybe a slowly then all at once type of thing as a business.
But well, it was a flick of a switch as such. So literally the weekend that ChatGPT came out, so GPT 3.5. By the end of that weekend, the decision was made to go all in on AI, and a few reasons why this kind of makes sense. We were already building AI features, and so we'd already started to like ship stuff and have opinions about these things and know what's possible, and so we weren't starting from scratch by any means. But also, to a certain extent, we had nothing to lose. I think, like 3 years ago, almost like last weekend, I think it was, like Intercom had definitely suffered from the kind of slowdown in SaaS. And so, revenue was pretty slow. Our founder CEO had just returned. And so we're almost like, we had an appetite for a lot of change anyway. And going after like maybe more like having a sharper vision about what Intercom is and what to go after. So we're already starting to like make some bold decisions, or we had like the appetite to make some bold decisions to basically get Intercom back to growth modes. So we had nothing to lose, and then GPT 3.5 came out, and very quickly we realized that this stuff's gonna eat our lunch. Like, we are a seats business. This and there's been a breakthrough here in terms of like the quality and general intelligence, and this thing can actually do a lot of the job of what humans who are sitting in seats that they're paying us for. And so, the decision came down pretty simply to like, do we disrupt ourselves or do we wait around to get disrupted? Or probably the default path is you kind of do a few experiments, might add a few features here and there, you see what happens out in the market or whatever. We didn't sit around for that. And, we were fortunate that we weren't a public company, or we didn't have investors who had very clear or very direct opinions about what direction we would go. We were able to like very quickly decide this is it. We're going to start directing the entire company towards this. And nowadays, like 70-80% of R&D is working entirely on Fin. We got to keep on the legacy business, keep that going well. And like, that's a good business. Lots of like tens of thousands of customers there. But like, we're all in on Fin in terms of the future of the company, future of our revenue, and what we're building and working on today.
For other companies, maybe looking to make this type of a decision and transition. I was wondering how much of this was related to the founder return, kind of Owen coming back, and like that founder mode article that Paul Graham wrote last year. This ability to align everyone and quickly make the transition. You had seen Intercom through multiple eras.
Yep.
Was that like part of the ability to make this change, or
absolutely. And it wasn't just this decision around like to go all in on AI that was sped up, I guess, by Owen's return. One of the big things that Owen was able to do when he returned was just make lots of fast decisions. So things that we might have been more careful about, or like gotten more feedback, or just like kind of, taking a more conservative approach to like things which can cause a lot of change, whatever. Owen was just very happy to make fast, decisive decisions. And, when you're the co-founder, CEO, that you can do that.
Right. And people listen, and people are aligned around it, and they're excited by it.
Yeah. And so, there was even just like, say small things like how the length of time you have to purchase your stock options in the case of leaving Intercom.
Right.
So historically, this was, I don't know, like 90 days.
Yeah,
or
90 days is kind of the standard.
Yeah.
Pretty short interval, and like you got to put up money to do it. It's kind of tough.
It's a nuisance for most people. Like, you can't really afford that kind of thing. And
right.
You don't really want to hold on people just for that as well. That's probably not good business. And so this has been like a nuisance that we had like since the start of Intercom. But like when on return, it was like literally in 2 weeks done. Like, and there was loads of ways to go about it. Just pick one way and do it. And now it's 5 years, and like we don't, so that problem's been solved, and that's like a small one, but like it's very easy for all these decisions just to go slower, get more feedback, not offend people, and like I've just seen I was able to take this kind of velocity or decisiveness and able to bring it into my decision making or my day to day of where like, hey, we can just do things now,
right?
Let's go fast. So like having that from the very top does like directly influence, deciding, I don't know, what database to upgrade to or something like that. Because you see speed in action and you see the benefits from it. You're like, okay, let's do that.
Feel empowered to have that same kind of speed in action. All right, so the king returns. Takes over. Odysseus is back from wandering the earth or whatever. GPT 3.5.
Yep.
ChatGPT moment. We're going all in on AI. When we were catching up earlier, you were mentioning that Intercom, in terms of how you write code, Fin and how you write code and actually operationalize internally, has also changed. So it's not just a product shift; it's actually an organizational change for the engineering side.
Yep.
Talk about that. Like where you're at with that journey.
Sure. Intercom's always been very aggressive about developer productivity in general. So we ship hundreds of times to production, completely automated CI/CD pipelines, and it's always the way we've worked. We've also been very generous, allowing people to use whatever tools they want, and put a lot of emphasis on speed and shipping and just day-to-day productivity, removing all sorts of bullshit work wherever possible. So it was extremely unsurprising that like the day say GitHub Copilot came out, it's like we just enable it for everyone. It's like this looks cool. We should try it out. This is like natural for us to be adopting these tools and seeing how we can speed things up or seeing how it can change the software development lifecycle. So yeah, we're pretty aggressive on just enabling this kind of stuff. When Cursor came out, like of course, just made it easy to start adopting Cursor and all this. But we started getting a bit dissatisfied with progress, or rather, you would see like some some areas would be doing pretty well, some engineers would be doing pretty well. You wouldn't see like we're not like shipping twice the amount of features that you would be otherwise, or like kind of got the feeling that like maybe not everyone is adopting us at the same pace, or they're kind of comfortable with old ways of working, and the opportunity is real and tangible, and you know and transformative in the same way we think that AI and customer service is transformative. Like AI into software development is also extremely transformative, and not just in the like typing quicker kind of way, but like in architecting and experimenting and democratizing access to shipping code and stuff. So Dara, our CTO, wrote a blog post, well, wrote an internal piece, but we put it publicly called titled 2X, which is where we have a very direct push or plan at this point to get to twice the amount of productivity from our R&D organization, with AI being the building
The
block of that.
accelerant of that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we made some very direct and simple demands of everybody in R&D. So, for example, every designer had to have a fully functional developer environment with Cursor up and running, or else, like that, there was just no choice. They now had to start to work like this. And of course, we did all enablement works, piece of work. We did workshops, demos, like really, really bringing people along and giving support. So not just giving access to tools, not just telling them they have to do this, but I'm making it clear that expectations, but also day-to-day support, and whether it's like sharing articles or guides at work, or working to iterate on, say, improving the guidance that we give to Cursor so that we can import stuff from our MCP servers, and all of the stuff necessary to try and like make it easy to adopt and like share wins and success stories and things like that. And yeah, like we're really aiming and pushing for twice the amount of productivity. Again, and then we've got like full-time people. Like I've been working a good bit on it, but a good few engineers on this. And again, it's kind of spiky. We're seeing like things like maintenance work on, say, our Ruby on Rails monolith, really, really well suited for that. We've completely automated away like detection and removal of dead code or unused code in our code bases. This stuff, it's not going to double your share price, but it's the kind of thing that like humans wouldn't otherwise go out of their way to get done, and is necessary kind of gardening work in this monolith. It just makes our life kind of more sustainable. Other things like security reviews. We're now doing probably 10 times the amount of security reviews that we used to. In the past, we had a lot of process. You might get eyes on certain things. Some things that you wanted to get eyes on, you wouldn't get because somebody would never come to you with a need or whatever. But now we're able to identify and just automate the vast majority of the work involved in the security review and make it self-serve as much as possible. So the volume and quality of that kind of these things has improved a lot. What we haven't broken the back of yet is like actually the work of getting features into customers' hands. There's still just a lot of like certain pieces of work like prototyping and some experimentation parts, and we're starting to see like changes in our approach to software architecture as well, of like having, say, a solid core, and then you're able to like vibe code all the stuff around it, like to say I have a omni-channel kind of setup, and you don't all of the work in like QAing and getting up and running, say like messaging to lots of different endpoints. Like now you can do that at speed, and you've got the solid core, and like it's kind of showing signs of our architecture being influenced by the capabilities of what we can do now with AI tooling. But still, there's a lot of humans, a lot of process, there's a lot of taste and just time involved in the actual, like the real work of product development. So but I think one of the most interesting parts is I think the job's more enjoyable. I think like if you're able to prototype stuff quickly, if you're able to get like fast feedback from a boss, you're not being blocked on, say, getting peer reviews from humans all the time and stuff like that. I think as an engineer, like the job's more fun. Now expectations are higher. Maybe there's more pressure. We really do want to like double the amount of throughput. but I find that like the work is more interesting. You're able to like do stuff which you might otherwise have to ask people about, or just like get inspiration from other parts of the code base or other features. And so I think that part's going well, even if we're not quite at the kind of double the capacity that we're trying, or capacity improvement that we're trying to get out of in the end. But we're still working on it. Tools are getting better. I think the techniques are getting better, more well understood, and it's a great time to be in engineering, I think.
I totally agree. I mean, I spend my weekends building and vibe coding stuff and trying new things, and it's as an engineer, it's like one of the most exciting times ever to build stuff and have all this tooling. Um, so we're here at reInvent. I'm curious, like, what you're seeing here this year at the event. What are you learning? What's maybe surprising? I don't know. How have you been spending your time the last few days?
Sure, I've been doing bits and bobs. Like, so Intercom has a stand here for the first time at reInvent. Bit of a unknown, just like, will people really want to purchase Thin at reInvent? Is that why people go to AWS conferences? But it's been surprisingly good. I mean, just there's a very broad spread of people who come to this event. I mean, it's so big, but we're talking to like C-level people just wandering around, board members of different like large companies. They're hanging around. They're asking us about Thin, and then like even all the way down to like I was talking the other day to someone who's just like setting up their first B2C startup and is looking for a bit of help and stuff. So like definitely not just a bunch of cloud engineers wandering around. So that's gone well and surprisingly good. I try to engage in like bits of the AWS community when I can, whether it's like local, say, folks based in Dublin or Ireland. So there's a bit of catching up with people here there as well. But also I'm interested in or hang around with, say, the cost management community as well. So gonna hang out with those people. It's just like I guess this is the best place in the world to have those kind of chats and stuff. So I was out with I've had breakfast with Corey Quinn and stuff like that so far. And yeah, but like this it's like the Coachella of tech as such. Like all of my vendors,
Yeah.
everyone's here.
We've only ever met over Zoom, so
Yeah,
we just ran into each other here. It's great. It's great.
So yeah, I've just been catching up with like randos on Twitter, but also all of the people I pay a lot of money to, like our observability vendors, this, that, and the other. And we've been doing like some speculative chats as well. Like we've been dipping our toes into like AI SRE tools and Resolved AI are everywhere this year.
Yeah.
Like,
They have a huge booth here. It's crazy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've been just like having chats with people, that kind of stuff as well. And then I've even got to a few talks, like just like really cramming everything in. So it's been great fun. You also have to like lower your expectations. Like you can't do everything here. You've no chance of actually seeing every talk or
It's totally
doing
overwhelming.
everything.
It's like it's so much.
I haven't even dreamt about going to any of the keynotes or anything like that. It's like I'll catch up with that stuff.
Which is crazy because they're so good. Like if you
Totally,
go watch
yeah.
them later, you're like, wow, this is actually one of the best presentations of the year. A lot of dense stuff. I always go back and watch Vern Vogel's thing later.
Yeah.
But I've never made it to the event. Very last question for you. If we're here a year from now, chatting and catching up, what do you think we're talking about then? What do you think is the new thing in the next year? Maybe it's gonna be evolving and growing. Aside from maybe GPT-6 or whatever, whatever will happen then.
Yeah, well, if AGI hasn't taken all our jobs
That's right.
by
Yeah,
next
maybe
year
we'll
or
all be
whatever.
uploaded to Singularity. Other than that,
No, in the same way that like I think it's a great time to be an engineer. Like it's a great time in tech at the moment. It's like, as in, I think it's like we've recently moved our databases over to Planet Scale.
yeah. I actually Sam was here a day or two ago. Yeah, let's catch up with him.
I've never actually met Sam in real life, but I know he's around. I need to catch up with
Yeah.
him somewhere. And like say like 10 years ago, that type of like cloud native, like technology would like it was pretty much only the likes of Amazon and stuff that were doing it. As in they had like first mover advantage. They were like building for the cloud. They were building the cloud. But nowadays it's like you can buy these amazing products, amazing features like Planet Scale, like Snowflakes of the world. And it's no longer just the cloud providers that can provide these like amazing cloud native services. But also the cloud providers are doing well as well. Like they've kind of caught up or starting to catch up. I think they're like maybe 5 years ago, I think maybe AWS kind of maybe lost a bit of focus or they were trying to do a bit too much. I think they've gotten back to like basics to a certain extent and they're just like shipping a lot of good stuff at the moment. And like we're taking more advantage of stuff that they're shipping now like this year and last year compared to like what would have been happening like 5 years ago or so. Um, and yeah, like even like the likes of Kiro, been pretty impressed. Like we don't use their Kiro thing yet, but like you look at the way they're talking about it, you see some of the features, like, well, I get it. This is like pretty interesting, and they obviously have the scale of like having a very large developer uh, team to like try things out on and kind of iterate fast there. And so I wouldn't bet against Amazon from that point of view as well. But yeah, I don't know. This time next year, more like even better stuff out there for us to build great businesses on top of, and even better tools to like actually get 2x productivity out of our developer tools. So